Hey guys, what is going on? Today we're going to be taking a look at some hair systems and doing a little bit of review. Now the purpose of these videos, of course, is never to actually insult a person. It's just strictly for our learning experience to see what is something that we can do a little bit better inside of our own hair system. So let's be gentle inside of the comments, constructive criticism only. I'm going to try to do the same inside of these videos, and let's get going. But first, this video is sponsored by Lord Hair, so if you are looking for a great deal on your first hair system, make sure you give Lord Hair a try with the link below in the description. Now let's just jump into the video. Now guys, this series, I generally pick hair systems that I sometimes see problems with, things that I think personally could be a little bit better. Once again, it's never to insult anybody. It's never to talk bad about them. It's just simply things for you to look for in your own system, in your own journey, styles that you want, things that may look good, things that may not look good. So let's just jump in, all right? All right, so this gentleman right here, it looks like he's gonna be getting a, this looks like just a thick poly on the outside. It looks like there's probably a mono on the inside. It looks like it's pretty dense mesh, although it is pretty hard to see. So, this unit, it looks as if it is not, the newest tech, and it's not designed for the maximum amount of realty. All right, so the haircut begins. We can see this guy has very, very thick, dense, coarse hair. So that's gonna play a factor in the density that is okay for him in his hair system. Gonna be able to wear a lot denser of a volume than you or I would if you are of the European descent. We can see the just really how thick his hair is. If we did this same thing with my hair, you'd be able to see probably about an eighth or even more of an inch down into my my hairline here, just because the hair is finer and it's thinner. So this is a technique that I see a lot of people using inside the hair system space. I've seen it on Hair Systems Heydeck. What they do is they actually create this line a little bit lower. I don't know what the exact technical term is in styling hair, but the fade is like maybe it's a low fade, but it's a little bit lower on this side of the head. And what this does is it kind of gives the illusion that this up in here is not a separation. Like a lot of times fades are pretty high up into the side of the scalp, up into the temple region, but this right here can be a good way to potentially blend in a hair system and have that fade, that look on the side. So right now we see we're getting some prep done on the hair system itself, doing a wash of the hair, probably getting a shampoo and a conditioner in there to soften it up. And now it looks like you see that they're going to be using tape. So one of the nice things that you can do, you can get tape that's already pre-cut. That's better for the hair system that you have. It's cut for the front hairline, things like this. You can also cut your tape yourself. So that way it's easier to apply and you don't have to do any manual kind of cutting of it and stretching of the tape to match up with the actual curvature. You can do this with a pair of scissors. So we see we got tape all around the outside of this. In the center, there is nothing binding to it, which, this is something that can happen with a mesh unit with one that, the hair is attached to it. If you have tape or some adhesive in that mesh, I think there's a potential for more hair to get ripped out. So it's just something you gotta stay on guard about and be careful of. All right, so now we're seeing the actual application of the hair system going on, doing the thing, going from being bald to having the hair. Okay, so already we can see that this is a very dense unit. It is what it is. The volume and the density on this is, the density on this is significant. Probably too much for anybody of European descent. Can this guy get away with it? That's up to him, and you can have your opinion, but ultimately it's up to him. Something else I want to note really, really quickly that, as we're looking at this, a lot of people have problems with this type of line right here. They're like, oh my God, that's so unnatural. That really bothers me. I don't think that's real, all that kind of stuff. This doesn't terribly bother me. Could this have a little bit more natural recession built into the hair system, cut in a way so that there is a little bit more of a gentle arc here? Absolutely. That's possible. That's something that you may want to consider, and there are recessed hairlines for you to choose out there. This level of recession, it doesn't terribly bother me. It just really doesn't. That's my opinion. you may have a different one. So this tip right here is something that I've seen a lot of great stylists do, and I've been learning a little bit more about. Really good ones, they're doing all the blending before, and they're willing to get this pieciness on the side to blend in a little bit better with your actual natural hair. This is something that if you're gonna get your hair cut, go check to see if this is something they're familiar with doing. It will help them with blending, and we're about to see him actually probably razor these edges to blend better into his hair. So right here, we actually see some of those thinning shears. It looks like razors as well. So let's just talk about this real quick, all right? So at this point, I think it's going pretty well. Like if we look at these lines over here, right here, everything looks like it's blending pretty well. You know, this all up in here is actually hair system. This isn't his natural hair. So as of now, I like the way that this is blending and looking together. All right, so now we're getting to the actual hair system cut in, getting all the cut done, getting rid of the excess hair, making it shorter, getting the style locked in. Out of curiosity, I wonder if any stylists can speak to the way that this guy is cutting hair. I personally haven't seen anybody do that. Maybe this is a trick for those that have really thick, coarse, dense hair, the way he's using a brush and also scissors at the same time. I've never seen that before. All right, guys, so now we have the final result. So, I mean, you know, guys, I think he looks a lot more confident. I think he looks secure in what's going on and how he feels. Here's my opinion. It's just my opinion. You guys may have a different opinion. I'd like to hear your feedback, but let's just remember, let's be respectful. This is a human being on the other side of this, right? So I think that this style makes this a little less, maybe a little less believable, or just a little bit more extreme. It's actually more that it just draws a lot of attention to his head. First, I think that this is quite a bit up on his forehead. I think it could potentially be a little bit lower. This might be to a sizing issue. Could be that they don't have the right size of hair systems for this guy right here, so they're making do. I think it's a little bit high. The other thing, of course, with a lot of these systems, you know, they have access to what they have access, and that's okay. But it's still a little too dense for, I think, most of our likings. Some of you may disagree. With dense hair systems, it's a lot harder to style them to have less volume. Like if you just have a lot of hair, you just have a lot of hair. You can't really do that much with it. You know, you have to adapt the style to the hair system. And it's really, really hard to get a natural transition from, like, you know, your natural hair, especially when it's way shorter, into something like this. If you have really, really dense hair like this guy does, I think my opinion would be grow out the sides of your hair as much as you can, get some length there, so that way you can get some of that natural volume over here, so it can like lay more natural into the side and feel like it's, you know, one cohesive hair. That way it feels like it's one just more natural, cohesive kind of hair on your head, right? As opposed to, you know, this line right here. There's these lines. So that's just a general take on what I see right here. I love your feedback and your thoughts on, you know, what you're seeing. If you think that it's good, if you think it's bad, if you think that, you know, actually just be respectful in the comments. You know, we don't need to light up this guy or what he's got. He obviously feels better about himself, and that's the most important thing above what we think about it or what anybody thinks about it. Because ultimately, guys, you know, we're wearing hair systems because this is something that you and I are doing for our own improvements to make us feel better about ourselves. It's not for other people. So just advice for you to look at with your own hair systems. Thank you so much to Lord Hair for sponsoring this video, and we'll see you guys later.